Great win.
Excellent.
We're ready.
Earlier this week, my buddy Frank Winters texted me and told me that Race Predictor had me winning this race, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with that algorithm? Haven't they seen my results for the last few years? Hey, cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. After the warm-up, Frank came up to me and said that I'm no longer predicted to win the race because Rob Anderson is here. I have to say, that took pressure off of me. Now, Rob Anderson, I remember that name from years previous. He was on one of those Elite Masters teams, and I think it was AMD Discovery, the one that was from Montgomery, U.S. Postal. These guys, you had to be a national champion just to be on the team, it seemed like. And if you were a district champion, you were a domestique. So that meant for me, he was the main guy to watch. This was a 65 plus, 70 plus category. This is the first year that they're offering 70 plus, and I appreciated that. And I also appreciated that they cut down the number of laps from 5 to 4. This is an up and down type of race. There's, I think I ended up with about 19 miles, close to 19 miles of racing, in which 2,500 was climbing. So anytime you pass that 1,000 feet per 10 miles, you're going into a mountainous type of situation. As with my usual style of racing, I'm toward the front of the pack, just in case there's some sort of a split in the back, or I need to sag when it gets really tough, and I can still stay connected to the back. I was just following Steve Clifton, one of the favorites to win the 65 plus. I was being a little more careful because last year this happened. On the right, Steve may go toward the center line that I can't cross. I choose to thread the needle and boom, I cause a crash. I'm happy to say no crashes today. Even though this race is littered with climbs, including a wall in the middle of it, the worst part is going to be at the finish. It's kind of like a stair-step steep climb. This is where the race first gets defined. I just jumped to the top of the warm-up climb, at least at that final climb. Tim Davis and Steve Clifton at the bottom of this climb, both of Penbello, went to the front and started pushing the pace. I got on their wheel. For the moment, I want to turn your attention to the lower right-hand corner where my heart rate is. Now it's about 153, but when I was topping that, it was 157. The high that I received this year for my maximum is in this race at 163. So pretty much these guys have me on the rivet, and we're heading to the hardest part of the course, which we're starting now. You can see the devastation these guys are causing in my rearview camera in the upper right-hand corner. I'm doing my best to stay within myself because if I keep up a strong, very strong pace going to the top, I will die off before I get to the top, and those guys will go, everyone will just go past me, and then I'll be by myself. As I'm putting this video together, I can see what's happening behind me now, but during the race, I wasn't looking back. I was thinking everybody's on my wheel and they're going to jump me, and so this is where we're crossing the finish line, or the start of each lap, which will eventually be the finish line, and I just can't hang with these guys, so I've got to dial back. And so now I'm thinking that everyone's going to jump me at any moment and I'm going to be off the back. My heart rate got to 161, so pretty much I was on the edge. Now, what I didn't mention was that we took off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have a bit of a heat wave here, and none of us are, actually we're all in the same position where we hadn't been in a hot situation. All of a sudden, the heat has come on. Now, the temperature in the lower right-hand corner right next to it says 95 degrees. I kind of question that, but there may be street temperature. The high for the day there was 86. At this point, I'm surprised no one has passed me yet. Looking at the rearview camera, people are coming up. The gradient has gone from 12% to about 5%, and my heart rate is now up to 162. The top is in sight, and I know I gotta get on somebody's wheel to get over the top, and then I'll have a chance to get with the leaders again. I'm also looking at every person that passes me and see if they're wearing a specialized skin suit, because that's what Rob Anderson is wearing. I'm also looking for numbers that are 700 series, because the 800 series are going to be the 65 plus. My heart rate's 162, and I don't know how I'm staying with these guys. Up ahead, that's Frank Winters, and he eventually catches Steve and Tim. So we have now a group of 3 in front of us that are made up of national and district champions. I am with Mark Edwards of Body Concepts, James Torrance of Pedal Project Riding for Good, and Eric Salander of Penbello, who has 2 teammates in the lead group. All these guys are 65 plus. I'm the lead 70 plus on the road, at least for now. Now, I'm not a defeatist, but I'm a realist, and according to history, it's rare that I do any type of breakaway that actually sticks. So I'm thinking that Rob Anderson and who maybe some others are going to catch me at some point. I'm pretty reamed right now, and you can tell by my heart rate being about 158, and it's maybe coming down just a bit. But I'm going to try and keep this thing rolling. And fortunately, it looks like the others will too, except maybe for Eric. Jumping ahead a bit, we're coming up to that mid-lap wall. Mark Edwards from Body Concepts puts in an attack. I'm not going to go with it. I'm going to ride some wheels because I know that wall's coming up and I don't want to burn myself and then get dropped when I get on that wall. Walls and I don't always have a good relationship. Eric soft pedals a bit, and fortunately James goes to the front and pulls us back up to Mark. So let's jump forward a bit and see how steep that wall is. It sure looks steep. So I'm also looking at the gradient in like the lower left-hand corner near. We're at 9%, 10%, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's still climbing 15, 16, and then it starts to settle down a bit. I'm still with these guys, so that's good. Still in lap 2, I was cognizant of needing to keep this thing moving. So we finished our little descent, and now we're going up an extended climb. Not bad in terms of gradient, but it was a little longer. Looking up ahead, I can see the leaders. I want to get in the zone and stay nice and steady. My concern here is that I'm going to weaken before I get to the top and that they're just going to jump me. And then I'll be off the back trying to stay away from whoever's going to try and catch me. I never looked behind me. I figured that they're just lined out behind me, just riding my wheel. The others reconnect with me later in the lap. I did not consider this a breakaway. I just wanted to keep things moving. I figured that maybe if I didn't do what I did, we'd be a little farther back. There's a little yellow sign on the right side of the road as we're passing right here. That's the 1 kilometer marker. James Torrance decided to put in a little dig as we're leading into this climb. I get on Mark's wheel with Eric behind me. Now at this point, Eric has reached his limit. So he now drifts back. We are now a chase of 3. We are now finishing lap 2. I want to again have your attention turned to the grade. And you can see where when we hit 16% on that wall, we're now up to 12%, 11%. It's floating around there. We've already done a little climb leading into it. Now we're at 13%, 14, 15, 16, 17. You can see why this is the toughest climb of the whole lap. James is on my wheel, and Mark is back about 3-4 bike lengths. During the entire chase portion of the race, it always seemed like I was climbing better, but I was always thinking that these guys are playing possum a little bit. And again, I just want to keep this thing moving. There's the finish line, and we're at about 9. Okay, now we're going down to 9, 8%, 7%, and I'm reamed. Now, with the heat usually didn't bother me during this race. The only time it did was during extreme efforts, and I can feel my head just getting hot. And this is one of those times. With my heart rate being 95% of its max, I had dialed back just a bit just so I don't get jumped, and we're all together again. Now, we still have a little more climbing before we start the next lap. And you can see the grade starting to go back up again. We're at 10. We're going to go up to, waiting for that 11. We're riding slow right now. There we go, 11%, 12%, 13, 14, 15, 14. Okay, now it's starting to dial back a bit. So it's about 14%. And in the past, this is where I would also come off during crunch times. I'm going to speed this thing along just so you can see the rest of it. There's no more 16% grades, but you have like an 8%, 9%, 10. Yeah, so it's getting pretty meaty. And finally, it'll let up, and then it'll start the next lap where you start to descend a little bit and have some flats. A month ago, I would not have been able to do this. In my previous race last week, and I have that video linked in the description below, I talk about training and body changes I made in the last month to help me get to where I am now. I'll be doing a video on that soon. Well, pretty soon. We're now jumping to the back half of the third lap, which was pretty uneventful. We just kept things rolling until the beginning of a small climb where James decides to jump me. The danger here for me is if they get over the top and keep it rolling, I'm going to have a hard time reconnecting with them. So I'm doing what I can to get up to their wheel by the time it gets to the top. When you see the camera swaying back and forth like that, I'm standing trying to get up to those guys, and I'm standing in slightly too big a gear. I don't remember, but hopefully I had the mindset to shift down a little bit. James is looking back to see the damage done, sees that I'm coming back up to them, and then they dial it back a bit. We reconnect. No problem. We've now jumped to the end of the third lap. 1 lap to go, and I'm still the leader in the 70s. I'm surprised Rob Anderson and group haven't caught me yet. All I'm thinking about is 1, again, keep it rolling, but 2, don't get dropped. I have to stay with these guys as long as I can.
Steve, are you the number 170?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, baby.
I'm surprised Anderson's back there.
I don't see anyone back there.
Yeah.
Gorman's gonna be pissed he didn't get his race.
Yeah.
See anyone?
No, not yet.
Number 65?
Yeah. Thank you.
Are there any chasers? Where's the little board with the time caps?
Yeah.
We are now within a kilometer. It ain't over till it's over. James keeps it strong. I'm weakening a lot. I know the finish is there. I know I have a gap to whoever that is in back of me, particularly Rob Anderson. But again, it ain't over till it's over.
Good job, man.
This is one of the longest kilometers I've ever done, it seems like. Mark comes up to me. He goes past me, and I'm again not able to get onto his wheel either. From the top of the same warm-up climb to the finish, I turn around and look.
Shit.
I don't know who's back there, but I'm assuming it's Rob Anderson. I don't want this to be like my younger cycling Greek days when I would get caught on the last corner of a crit one too many times. It's about half a kilometer to go. I'm putting everything I have left into this effort. I'm over the top at the little small descent so I can get a little bit of respite. I still got to keep the pressure on. I now have that finishing climb that tops over 17% to the finish. You'll notice my camera waving back and forth again. I'm in too big a gear standing, and I know I'm in a too big a gear. I don't know how close they are behind me. I'm trying to get over the top of the gear to get a little more speed, or at least to keep the momentum up. My heart rate's hitting a high of 163 for the year, and my head's going to explode with the heat. It has been 23 years since I last won a race, back when I was on Palestinian Gaming Elite Masters team. I hope you enjoyed this video because I certainly enjoyed making it and that you got something out of it. I'm going to enjoy the memories for the rest of the day, and then I'm going to think about what's next. As always, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.
Just rip the whole body.